Hi, my name's Kim and I'm a specialized Chinese medical provider and Taoist practitioner, and this channel is all about you, sharing with you information and solutions from the ancient Chinese medicine cabinet of healing remedies and helping you figure out how to use those remedies in your everyday life. And today we're talking about karma. When I was growing up, karma happened to you by some sort of divine entity in retribution for your actions. I thought karma was like some sort of payback for someone being a jerk, and at the end of karma, I would get to feel retribution. Yeah, that never happened. People could do some pretty hideous things and it would seem like the world would just let them slide. And that was a real big problem for me with my black and white sense of right and wrong. And then I would hear things like, oh, they'll get their payback in their next lifetime, or, well, they're not going to get into heaven. And that would do even less for me. What if this another lifetime thing just didn't exist? And talking about heaven, is there going to be a ledge that I can look over and peer down at them in the pits of hell and jeer at them? Can you tell I was going to heaven and the other person wasn't? But who knows? Yet heaven sounds perfectly wonderful and much preferable to the pits of hell. Yet the more I worked with Daoism, the more I started to see karma was something different. Now, you might be thinking that karma is a Buddhist belief. Would you believe it was a Hindu belief before it was a Buddhist belief? And even in Hinduism, it went through multiple major upgrades. And when it was incorporated into Buddhism, it did even more upgrades. And there's nuances in Daoism. And it's the same with chakras. Chakras are understood in all three practices. It was through Daoism that I realized karma wasn't a punishment. Do you remember as a kid getting in fights with your siblings and then running to your parents to state your case so you wouldn't get punished? Yeah, that's what I thought karma was, based on my limited life experiences. I just thought I had to run to this omnipotent third party and state my case and get there first also. It was upsetting to realize karma wasn't that at all. Instead, karma, with its set of laws, was a foundation to use to better understand myself and to help me become the person that I wanted to be. So let's understand karma in your life. Karma provides you a tool set to help you understand how you use this life. And it is a pathway to empathy, understanding, and acceptance of all the actions and decisions and emotions that got you here. Karma's a tool for the individual, and it's a learning tool for the individual. And understanding that was a huge letdown for all the times that I felt powerless by other people's actions and decisions. There are 12 karma laws, and today I'm going to share with you some of the neat experiences that I've had with one of these laws. And today's episode focuses on the philosophies that are deeply embedded in Chinese medicine. And I'm going to share with you some of my experiences on one aspect of one of these laws. And there's a lot more depth and a lot more aspects to each of these laws. So here's some of the neat realizations that I came to on one of these laws. It's always nice when you can start at one. And the first law of karma is the law of cause and effect. And in the West, we have a saying that you reap what you sow. I had been lucky, and I'm using that in the total past tense. I had been born with what they would have called good genes. Weight wasn't an issue for me. I was always a good weight or I was underweight. And being that weight was so easy, I was really careless with food. And I grew up at a time when fast food, sodas, and frozen dinners were coming in and were being championed for their convenience. What that did for me was I was able to take my enjoyment of brain-stimulating preservatives into middle age. As I grew older, I did try and reduce my consumption of fast food, sodas, and processed foods, but it was more like a half-hearted attempt. And then I turned 50, and it was like suddenly somebody turned my metabolic system off. Everything started going sideways. My body's internal damage from the last half century of my careless food choices was about to show up. And when it comes to fast food, it seems like the primary ingredients are sugar, salt, fats, and hormones. No nutrition in that. To find more unique information on how sugar impacts the body, check out my blog, Stress, Sugar, and Calcium. Or to get more great information on how high fructose corn syrup is processed in the body, check out my blog, When a High LDL Number Doesn't Mean You Have High Cholesterol. To make it easy for you to find these blogs, I'm going to put links in the vid description below. In the West, we're more of the mindset, play hard and die early. And you know, it's that type of mindset that promotes early illness. You know, the number one cause of death in the United States is heart disease, followed by cancer. But you know what really shocked me? Number 6 is Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And you know what's different about this one? Unlike all the rest of them, this one is not going down. In fact, over the next 3 decades, Alzheimer's disease and dementia is expected to triple. Woof, that's a lot of people. And you know, there's a lot of things that you can do to support your memory and your memory function. I'm going to put another link in the vid description below to my program, Ways to Keep Your Memory Sharp and to Crush Your Final Season. It seems like 50 is a magic cutoff point. Up until 50, you're ignoring your physical body, and that's okay because you still have enough vitality, that substance that allows you to heal and repair and fix all the little insults over the years. And then you turn 50, and if you've been like me, a little bit casual with your health and wellness, you begin to pay the price. It was like someone had turned off my metabolism overnight. Now, they didn't. There were warnings all along the way, warnings which I could and did ignore. That's karma. The first law of karma is you reap what you sow. I hadn't taken care of my food choices or my lifestyle, and what that meant for me is that I'd consumed too much of my vitality early on. I no longer had enough vitality to overcome my poor eating choices. The result of my gluttony was that I had all these different health issues starting to show up. And my penance was going to be relearning how to properly eat food. So a penance is either a tool to relearn how to do something correctly to support yourself and to support your health, or it's continuing on your merry way and it's a punishment where you continue to experience declining health and feeling awful. The thing was, is what this taught me about karma was that karma was due to my own actions and it was not due to some divine hand. Yet changing my karma wasn't going to be easy. Food is my drug of choice. Food has so many different tastes and textures. I experience so much joy and comfort sitting down to a tasty meal with friends or family. And those sensations highlight for me just how intoxicating it is to be alive and why these karmic choices are so hard. Life is intoxicating. I wanted to talk about our physical body first because I never associated the physical body with karma. Yet the very black and white example of our physical health helps facilitate our understanding of karma. Karma impacts every level of being human, from our physical body to our spiritual being. Yet, each day, karma allows us to make a different decision or not. Karma has no opinion. Karma is the perfect example of the Taoist concept of disengaging. Now, Buddha has stated that not all disease is karmic. I think that starts getting beyond karma and the individual, which is what I'm focusing on here. I don't really know what I think about that. The Chinese medicine pillars are Buddhism, Daoism, Confucianism. In Chinese medicine, they are very clear that all disease starts with you. And the only one that might fall outside of that realm is accidents. Yet, if you start delving into some of these other aspects of karma, accidents might fall into that area. In each of these areas focuses on how karma is your choice and impacts your life. It's about you in your bubble interacting with the world. And when I started to realize that life was me in my bubble interacting with the world, I started to realize the world was just my opinion. And it was going to be important for me to start listening to other people, because listening to other people is just one way of opening your mind up to other possibilities. To really understand why looking at other possibilities is so important in your life's journey, check out my Finding Balance episode, the reciprocal link between mindfulness and Daoism, exercises to use in your life. There's a great section on truth in that video. Everyone has a mindset about life. It's something we learned in childhood and brought with us into adulthood. And that mindset highlights how we reap what we sow. That mindset is the critical determining factor in setting our expectations for ourselves. It's why we hang out and choose friends who think like we do. We choose friends who think like we do for a very specific reason. We choose them so we can continue to live and justify the mindset that we believe in. And let's be real. Changing our perspective is difficult. 1, it's unfamiliar. 2, you don't really believe it can happen. And 3, you're comfortable where you are even if you're not happy. That's a big part of reaping what you sow. If you keep on planting wheat, you're not going to get corn. Hopefully, as I talk to you about mindset and mental attitude, you can see how your mindset could trap you in your world. And it's only a trap if you're not happy with where you're at. One of the most effective ways to change your mindset is to hang out with different people. And this is only going to work if you hang out with people who make you uncomfortable. Uncomfortable in their goodness. New and better people might not want to hang out with you because your energy is so low. So how do you do this? I gotta say, religious groups are a great option because they have an open door policy. My husband's great at finding new and better people, and it was through watching him that I started to learn how to choose new and better people. He's the one who actually introduced me to the Nazarene Church, and it took me 3 months to go to church with him. When I did, I was amazed. The pastor was terrific. He always preached about love, loving your neighbor, open acceptance, and he actually lived what he talked about. Here's the thing. He was always amazing. When he finished seminary school 30 years earlier and moved up here to take this position, people actually followed him. And they're still here today. He was what I needed at a time when I was pretty jaded from working in corporate America, and jaded in the sense where I mistook my position and salary as personal value, and it showed up in all the different ways I interacted with the world and others in it. To change my sense of entitlement, I really needed to be around people who embodied what the lack of entitlement looked like. 3 years after I started participating with the church, he passed. I was devastated. He was my spiritual beacon, and I still miss him today. I just feel like there was so much more that I needed to learn from him. But in those 3 short years, he completely changed my world and how I interacted with the world. And because of that, my world became a much better place. Everything started to flourish. The friends I hung around with, my business, my interactions with others, all hit this really high note. So, karma is something you create that determines the trajectory of your life. And to change it takes determined focus and a willingness to look at yourself honestly. Okay guys, that's the episode for this week. It was all about individual karma and the first law of karma, the law of cause and effect. Hey, leave a comment below about your experiences with karma, what you've learned about karma, or anything else you want to talk about. And thanks for coming out. Until next time, I'll catch you on the other side.